The world does not give you opportunities. The world destroys your opportunities and it breaks your heart. Ho, ho, ho. And that's a nice line from a holiday movie, but never, it's very rare for a Hollywood movie to say so much truth in a movie, I will add. Yes, it's that time of year. It's like, as much as, I hate to, at the risk of conforming to the societal structure we're all born into. It is that time of year, and I do get kind of whatever. I don't go out and buy all kinds of stuff, but I do, like holiday Christmas lights and, this. Even when it snows, as much as I hate winter and hate the snow, it's just like, I guess it's the programming in me that I just, I do still, even at my advanced age, do kind of get like just the bug or the infection, the holiday infection, if you will, this time of year. So I'm going to start doing not a huge amount, but a nice little amount of like holiday related reviews within the next coming weeks and days and stuff like that. And the first being a review for a movie that I thought came out last year in the theaters, but I guess time flies. I think it came out about 2 years ago, probably next month in December, a movie by the name of Joy. And I remember, I would show you the original poster that was out at the time when the movie was in the theater, but, there might be a risk for copyright strike and, an excuse for them to put an ad on the review, which I don't want them to do, so feel free to do an internet search, just type Joy 2015 theatrical poster or whatever. It's kind of similar to this where, she's just like looking up and there's snowflakes coming down, and I just like, I don't hate Jennifer Lawrence. I mean, she's fun to look at and cute and stuff like that. So I was kind of interested a little bit, and also 2 years ago being in, as I always do generally this time of year, it's just like, oh, I kind of almost want to just see that because it looks like, I don't know what the hell it's about, but it's Jennifer Lawrence looking up and smiling and snowflakes coming down, and it's called Joy. But so incidentally, I just came across this movie recently, previously viewed at half price for $2, and I'm like, oh, that movie, and it was getting close to this time of year, and I'm like, well, I thought I could buy it and watch it now and review it this kind of holiday season this year, if you will. And this particular DVD is kind of cool. It's got this slipcase with this little flap of that in there, so it's kind of cool or whatever for $2. So the movie starts kind of cool, and like when the opening logos are happening, like the 20th Century Fox thing comes on, and like the second half of the fanfare is cut off for some music to start or whatever, and then when the second logo comes on, there's this really beautiful bit of orchestral music as like that second logo is happening or whatever, and I was like, oh wow, maybe this movie's gonna be awesome with a great score and stuff. But from what I can remember, that's like some of the best, that's like the last time you hear that like really beautiful bit of orchestral music, and it's just like you never really, I don't think, hear anything like that for the rest of the movie, and it's just like, oh. The movie starts really kind of cool with this goofy kind of, was it like a soap opera from the late 60s, early 70s or something like that, maybe mid 70s or whatever. And you're just like, what the hell is this about? It turns out to be just a soap opera that, Jennifer Lawrence's character, I think her first name is Joy, and that, of course, is the reason for the title. But, when they originally saw the poster and she's just looking up with the snow coming down and it's Joy, you just don't know what the hell it's about. Incidentally, I'm not really a person who likes to know what a movie's about before I see it, so I don't read the back of boxes because I just don't read the back of boxes because I don't want things spoiled. I just want a cover or a poster to whatever. And if I see a trailer, I don't think I ever saw a trailer for this. If I had, I may not have bought this because I didn't know it was about a woman who invented a mop. So it's just like, oh, I guess in this case, maybe reading the back of the box would have been something worth doing, but whatever, it's $2 whole. So I don't feel my time was wasted, but what I was saying is the movie opens really cool, and with this cool, just hokey ass frickin' soap opera that's happening before your eyes in one shot, and just the cliched kind of soap opera, whatever, and you're just like, what is this? And then we come to find that Joy's mom in the movie, played by, okay, so I can't remember her name. I think she was in Candyman, that woman. is watching basically just this old, just this woman who basically spends the rest of her second half of her life in front of the TV with these particular soap operas. But the movie starts with a younger, maybe 12-year-old, 11-year-old Joy character and her half sister and her best friend, and we just get introduced to the character of Joy, her building this little paper whatever village and trees and fence and stuff with a little, where she keeps all this play stuff she kind of just made out of paper in her little shoebox or whatever. And we're kind of introduced to this character being, creative and all this kind of stuff. And then we don't spend very much time with her as a kid, and then we cut, to which I think I want to say they said at one point was 1995. I think this movie takes place in 1995. It's supposed to be a true story. Of course, you got to be wary of that. Basically, in the media, I think we get little to no truth. So whenever a movie says true story, I don't think it's necessarily any more true than any other bullshit we're fed. But this movie, if I'm not mistaken, does take place in 1995. And as I said in so many reviews that take place, in eras gone by, it's refreshing to see a movie without a single person on their frickin' cell phone or looking down at, it's really refreshing to watch, because that you don't get to really see that much nowadays. If a movie takes place now, the character is, definitely going to have their face in their phone for probably half the movie or something like that. So it is nice to see a movie take place in an era before heavy cell phone usage. But for me, the first maybe 30 minutes, which is I guess the first quarter of this movie, was fantastic. Relatively great, and it just kind of shows the goofy situations. Basically she's living in the same house with her mom, who lives upstairs and just watches her soap operas all day. And incidentally, it's kind of cool because, like, we see that bit of the mid 70s or whatever, early to mid 70s soap operas, and then like we cut to 95 and it's like the same soap opera with these stars who have been made up to have aged, and now it was in black and white at the beginning of the movie because they were watching on black and white TV. Now it's in color, the soap opera. So we get to see the soap opera change as the rest of the characters change, and now we see Jennifer Lawrence playing Joy. Is just we set up to me the best part of this movie is the setup of her basically living situation, which are all living in this house with her mom, and Joy's actual ex-husband of 2 years, divorced 2 years ago, is living in the basement, and then her dad ends up very early in the movie coming back home and breaking up, her dad's girlfriend, who played by, Robert De Niro doesn't play her dad's girlfriend, he plays her dad, is kicked out. Robert De Niro, Robert De Niro plays Jennifer Lawrence, who is playing Joy's dad in this movie, and towards the beginning of the movie he gets kicked out by the woman he's seeing by his girlfriend at the time. So he comes in a relatively funny scene, comes to live with her in the basement with her ex-husband, who she divorced 2 years ago, and there's this funny scene where it's kind of dividing the basement. One half her ex-husband, who shouldn't be living there, and one half her dad, who shouldn't be living there. But so to me, the best part of this whole movie is the first quarter, if you will, just setting up all these goofy situations, and then once she actually, she's desperate to get out of this. I can't even remember what she does for a living in this movie, but she's desperate to get out of this situation, and she's always been a creator anyway. When she was a kid, she invented some kind of dog collar that wouldn't choke the dog, and it was also flea repellent and also something like that. So then later on in the movie, I'd say maybe, I don't know, a little bit after maybe 45 minutes or so, or maybe 50 minutes into the movie, she starts this whole crap where she starts, and she has this idea for this mop, and I don't know, it's just, and so the rest of the movie is basically her trying to get this mop patented and made and stuff, and her struggle with that, and it's just like, oh man, like, this isn't what I was expecting. So the last half, easily say the last half of this movie is kind of a bummer, seeing her just take all these financial risks and get shot down and risk and then shot down, and you think, oh, okay, so we got a break, something's going to happen, shot down, and it's just like, oh, okay, so that's depressing. And then of course, as so often happens, you got to have your depressing dip towards the end of the movie, three-fourths into the movie, and then only to come up with a happy ending. towards the end of the movie where this woman ends up being Joy, ends up being all successful with a huge house and this business and stuff. And at the end of the movie, it's really weird because one thing that I found really stupid was there's this really cool scene where she actually, you know, the salesman on this TV show couldn't work the mop and, you know, really screwed up the ad of, you know, selling the mop or whatever, and then she said, well, let's do it again, but let me be the salesperson because I can make this mop work, you know. And then they try to dress her up in this fancy dress or whatever, and she just comes out of the dressing room and says, you know, this is me, just blouse or whatever and pants. And it's just like, that was a cool statement, only to be like completely, at the end of the movie, she's all in this fancy, you know, like just crap, like, you know, a lot of female politicians wear this kind of shit, just, you know, this fancy bigwig crappy outfit at the end of the movie when she's behind the desk and she, you know, she's on the other side of the desk at the end of the movie interviewing people with an idea for an invention and stuff like that, and she gives them a chance, and she's like very cold and robotic at this point, and I just thought it was this, she should have been at the end of the movie a little more human. And she should have been just in her normal clothes. Why did they dress her in that, you know, just authoritarian frickin' Nazi woman outfit? But whatever. That's one of my complaints with the movie as a whole and the ending of the movie. So as much as the movie kind of takes a turn for the worst, you know, halfway in or maybe a little bit before halfway in, I will still give this movie 2 1/2 stars out of 4 stars, just because the first quarter, or, you know, maybe we can even go so far as saying the first half of this movie is relatively well done. And Jennifer Lawrence, you know, me not being a huge Jennifer Lawrence fan or anything like that, I could take her or leave her. I mean, she's obviously attractive and cute, and she turns out a fantastic performance in this movie. Robert De Niro is, you know, again, I'm not a Robert De Niro fan or whatever. I want to say Virginia Madison is the name of the woman who plays her mom. You know, she's fine as playing her mommy, and all people in the movie are fine or whatever. It's just, you know, this is, like I said, this is one of those cases where you could probably, reading the back of the box might have benefited me, but still, whatever. It's $2, and I don't regret buying it for $2 and watching it or whatever. I can see myself wanting to see the first half of this movie again at some point, and, you know, just having been curious about this movie in a small way for 2 years, it's interesting to finally see it or whatever. So that's my review of Joy. Thank you very much for watching, and as always, we'll catch you next time.